Hello to all Manchester United fans all around the world. Into our daily roundup of the latest news stories and transfer news about our club. The story of how Ralf Rangnick, former Schalke, Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig boss, helped to revolutionize German football with a devotion to gegenpressing tactics. 63-year-old is finalising a deal to become Manchester United's interim manager. Former RB Leipzig boss Ralf Rangnick, who is close to becoming Manchester United's interim manager, explains his coaching philosophy at the Coach's Voice conference earlier this year. Ralf Rangnick describes it as his football epiphany. It was February 1983 and, aged 25, he was serving as player-manager of Viktoria Backnang, a small town team in Germany's 6th tier, when Valery Lobanovsky's Dynamo Kiev turned up for a mid-season friendly. Lobanovsky's side were regarded as the strongest in the Soviet Union, and it was no surprise they easily swatted their amateur opponents aside. But the manner in which they did it made a lasting impression on Rangnick, a bewildered figure in central midfield. A few minutes in, when the ball had gone out for a throw, I had to stop and count the opposition players, he recalls in Raphael Honigstein's book, Das Reboot. That was the first time I felt what it was like to come up against a team who systematically pressed the ball. I had played against big professional teams before, and of course we lost those games as well. But they at least gave you a bit of breathing space, the chance to put a foot on the ball, as we used to say. Lobanovsky's side afforded Rangnick and his teammates no such luxury. I felt constantly under pressure for the entire 90 minutes, he added. It was the first time I sensed, this is football of a very different kind. Dynamo Kiev returned to the town for training camps each season under Lobanovsky, and Rangnick, who was studying for his coaching badges at the time, attended every session, pen and notepad in hand, to study the way they played and how they direct. Lobanovsky's relentless, organized pressing tactics would form the basis of Rangnick's own philosophy, one he would later implement at a string of clubs including Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig, helping to revolutionize German football, inspire a generation of coaches including Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel, and, ultimately, take him to the Manchester United hot seat. Back in the 80s, however, his ideas were deemed radical. Bundesliga sides at the time were a reflection of the country's hugely successful national team. They lined up with a sweeper, and man-marking was the preferred system, says Rangnick in Das Reboot. His time in charge of Hoffenheim was followed by a second spell at Schalke, during which he won the German Cup, the first major trophy of his career, and guided the club to a Champions League semi-final, where they were defeated, perhaps fatefully, by Manchester United. But arguably his best work to date came subsequently at RB Leipzig, where Rangnick had an impact similar to the one he had at Hoffenheim. In the first of two spells as head coach, in 2015-16, he won a promotion to the Bundesliga while also fulfilling director of football duties for Red Bull's network of clubs. In the second, in 2018-19, he guided them to a third-placed finish, helping to establish their presence in the Champions League. By then, over in Bavaria, Pep Guardiola's spell in charge of Bayern Munich had accelerated the development of coordinated gegenpressing tactics in German football. Rangnick and his contemporaries, once viewed as a fringe movement of modernists, as Honigstein puts it in Das Reboot, had finally become mainstream. Rangnick may never have won the championship, added Honigstein, but he has won the argument. 4 decades on from his football epiphany, the question now is how his methods will take hold at Manchester United. Thank you very much for your time and effort. This is all what W.